LearningMate was founded in 2003, and it's been now almost 18 years, in the business. So LearningMate is primarily a edtech company, as you call the word edtech today, education technology company. It was founded with the core mission of helping educational institutions like schools, colleges, universities, education publishers, content providers, or even government departments of education use technology to make education smarter and more effective. And we've worked with over 250 clients over the last 18, 19 years. We are perhaps the largest team in this business today, helping several clients implement education technology platforms, digital content, creating roadmaps for their digital future, doing complete digital transformation. And especially during these times of COVID-19, where every university and school wants to teach online, we find ourselves front and center of this whole, digital transformation that is happening in the education industry. So that's really a brief background, and that's how the company started. It's true to its mission. We are 100% education, don't do anything else, and that's what we stay committed to. We started almost as any small startup would have started in 2003. It started out of my house with a couple of co-founders who even work together today. When we started the company, we found that education was kind of restricted to being in the classroom, and you had to actually go to a school, and quality education was not available freely and widely. So one of the things we thought was technology has made banking more accessible. It has made retail more accessible. It was making many other industries more accessible and affordable. Then why not education, right? We thought that technology would have a huge role to play in education someday. In 2003, when we started, there was hardly any technology in the classrooms or in the universities or in the schools. They were not using it. We felt that there were two things we wanted to help people do: make technology accessible and affordable both, so that you could take what you're teaching inside the classroom or in your university and make it widely accessible to a large group of people who can benefit from it, and also bring down the cost of education. So largely, if you look at what's happening in the US, even today, in the middle of the pandemic, as you kind of look at this, university education is really costly. It costs an average of about $50,000 to send your child to a university here if you don't have the benefit of scholarships or anything. And even with that, it's still costly. And today, people are really questioning, after spending all that money, is there a job available and all of that. Even universities are looking at redefining their business model in some ways. So they are trying to bring down the cost of their education to make it more affordable. They are going online so that many more people around the world can access their courses. But we believed in 2003 that this was going to happen. It was early days, but we kept the faith, we kept the belief. That was the core reason why we started the company. And I'm very happy that, of course, it was a long wait, but in the last couple of years, and especially now, everyone is investing in creating online strategies for their institutions. So that was the core mission we started with. And I think today nobody is in doubt that mission is front and center of every strategy that an education institution wants to do. We grew through the years. We first worked with publishers and then with universities and schools and states, departments of education. So we have a lot of variety of clients. A lot of our business is in the US, but we also work in Europe, in London, in UK, and parts of Europe, mainland Europe. We've done a little work in India, not so much. But I think Asia and India are now adopting online education in a big way. So we have a role to play there as a global company. And hopefully we'll see a lot more traction there. So that probably answers your question. We've been committed passionately to making education better using technology, and that's the reason we started it. We started the first initial few years. People thought that online learning was something that was good to have. 90% of the teaching and learning was done in the classroom and all of that. So we were, creating supplemental material to help the classroom experience, right? It was not the classroom experience. In 2008 or 10, around that time, there was a big shift that happened in the education industry. The big shift happened because of two reasons. One of the reasons was that there was a big economic downturn in 2008-9. And second is, people who had new devices like the iPad and the iPhones that came out in the market. So now instead of buying a $150 textbook, right, you could have the textbook on your iPad or iPhone delivered for $30, right? Because the textbook publisher could make it digital. The textbook publisher did not have to ship their books to Hong Kong to get it printed, then ship to a godown, and then ship to a bookstore. All these things added costs and made the book costly. Everybody had a margin. And by the time somebody bought that book, here in the US, it used to cost about $80, $100, sometimes even more than that. So every university said that we want content digitally, we want it cheaper, we want it more flexible. So this whole digital medium took off in 2011-12. And what LearningMate did as a strategy was that we said that there needs to be a system of managing digital content for these large content providers and universities both. There was no platform that actually where you could store your digital content, tag it, search, curate it, and then deliver it to an iPad or a mobile or any other channel that you wanted to basically deliver it to any LMS system or any assessment system. There were many systems that people came up with, but nobody came up with a content management platform or a workflow platform which would take care of the entire process of right from authoring or importing digital content into a single repository and then using that to distribute your content to various channels. So we started building our platform called Frost in 2012. Today it's one of the leading, or it is perhaps the leading education content management systems in the US at least. And many clients that use it to manage their complete workflow of digital content, and it's their central hub to distribute that content wherever they want in the world. So we invested a lot in that. I think we saw the benefits more in the last 2-3 years. It's picked up really well. However, some of our platforms were designed in a way that only large universities or large publishers could afford it, which means you had to be a very big enterprise because ours was an enterprise solution. During this pandemic, we realized that there are many small and medium businesses, right? Smaller universities, smaller publishers who can't afford a IT department or IT infrastructure to implement our platform. So what we did was we have now cloud-enabled our platform in a SaaS model, software as a service model. And if you are a small publisher, let's say in Delhi or let's say in the US or in UK, and you want a place to host your content and distribute your content from, you don't need to buy a system or install an IT department to manage that. You can climb onto our platform. It's a software as a service fee. For a small fee, you can climb onto our platform and then store your content on a per course basis. and distribute it to anywhere you like. And our platform pretty much connects to all front-end systems, all learning management systems, all of that. So this is probably going to be the industry's first cloud-hosted content management system specifically meant for education. And that's really what we have innovated for. So we've transformed from a content company to a technology company, and now to a technology cloud SaaS company. So there have been two major transformations for us from an innovation perspective.